So here's why your e-commerce business might be losing money right now and you don't even know it. For those that are new here, my name's Sasha, and for almost a decade now, I've been helping people build and grow e-commerce businesses to the effect of over 2,200 members that have scaled revenues in excess of $185 million in sales. So I've seen a few things and I'd hope to share with you some things that might benefit you in your journey so that you don't have to make the same mistakes, go through the same issues, go through the same challenges, and your business can grow faster with more profit and less stress. So with that being said, let's jump into today's video. Now, it's in relation to margins, calculations, and definitions. I've got my notes on my screen here. I'm going to be kind of going back and forth between these two things to make sure that I can give you the most up-to-date information in relation to what is happening right now in my community with thousands of business owners that are growing and scaling. So if this is helpful or valuable by any way, click the link and like and subscribe to this channel. And I'm going to continue delivering videos just like this so you can get all the benefits from people that have paid for access to these types of tips, advice, and details. So the number that I want to talk about today in this video is the one number that I believe is most important and most influential, especially if you're in the stages of anywhere from like $5,000 a month up to say $50,000 a month, really in that starting phase, and it's your break-even ROAS. And most people get this completely wrong because what they do is they choose to look at costs in relation to their cost of goods that aren't the full picture. And then they make misinformed decisions about what their break-even ROAS is to the point where they start spending money on ads and thinking that their break-even ROAS is like 1.8, when really it should be like 2.5. And so it's incredibly important to make sure that both those numbers are well informed, and also not just well informed, but they are iterated on. Because what happens is, as founders, we like to think of the optimistic, think of the future, think of where my business is going. And we tend to sometimes ignore the brutal facts and the truth of what is true right now. This is like exchange rate, shipping, taxes, inspection, duties, wrapping, boxing, packaging. I'm just going to keep looking at the manufacturing cost because that makes me feel good. And that's actually what happens with a lot of founders. They stay stuck in that trap. They run over to their Facebook account and they start spending money on ads and they go, what's happening in my bank account? There's movement. It's going up and down. After ad spend bills and after things move around, it kind of looks okay, but they're missing this fundamental error that is, well, after all of my stock runs out, I'm going to have the same amount of money in my bank account, which means essentially you've taken the cash that was your stock and you've essentially liquidated all of it and sold it all, and nothing has changed in the account, which means if you look at the totals of that whole situation, you've lost the value of your inventory. Let's say you paid $30,000 out of your own pocket to buy the inventory, and then you've run your business and $10,000 has remained in your business checking account for the remaining 3 months as you ran your business and sold all that stock. After that whole period, you're like, still got $10,000, so my business is doing okay. But it's actually not, because you have no more money for stock, and you're going to need to go further down into your own pocket to pull out another $30,000 to fund the next stage of growth. And so this number and the way that you calculate this number is incredibly vital to the success of your business. If you calculate it wrong, you'll be in a situation where you'll always need to find external sources to fund the company. That might be yourself, that might be debt, that might be Shopify capital, that might be something from the banks. Maybe you're going to go and take some equity out of your home and put it into your business. But all of those types of mechanisms are what we call unsustainable businesses. Okay, if we think about what it means to sustain or remain consistent, what that assumes is when I spend a certain amount of money and then I provide value by way of product solving a problem, I then have enough value left over right after I have solved the problem to then replenish what I have actually paid to get the customer, as well as to deliver the product, to continue the cycle. And if you don't have this and you don't kind of spend enough time developing this, then what you have is a vicious cycle where spend money to get the customer, deliver the product to the customer, and then what you're left with remaining is just enough to kind of like maybe run the business. Then how do we continue running the business? This is the vicious cycle of businesses that eventually have a finite lifespan, and they are governed and capped by the ability of the business owner or the founder or the CEO to go out and get debt to artificially enhance the business, which is very, very, very challenging. So what we recommend in Ecom Capital, in the communities, with all the clients that I work with and coach individually, is an approach that is obsessively detailed in relation to this starting stage. You're in that stages of 10 to 50,000 per month. Things are going well. You're making sales. Sales seem to be rolling in, but your bank balance seems to not really move. Now, the amount of times that I've heard this conversation had over and over again, to the point where there is no real understanding of why. And it goes, well, my accountant tells me, or my financial accounting software, that things are good and we are profitable, but profit doesn't equal cash. And profitable one month doesn't mean that when I go and order stock next month, it's going to be very difficult for me to do that because I have no money left over. So I hope that puts some context around this video and the format of this video and the benefit of you as a founder obsessing on having the right economics that make the model of your business able to scale, and scale in a way that is not finite and has like a certain end game that's based on your ability to continue accumulating debt and capital. Even that in and of itself, the whole idea that we need to grow the business by accumulating mass amounts of debt to buy a whole bunch of stock, to then sell the stock at an amount that doesn't actually provide enough remaining cash to pay off the debt. And then I need to go again, and then I need to refinance the debt and get bigger debt to hopefully get more. It's a very challenging situation, and it puts founders, especially new founders, in what I call like a vice grip, where essentially you're running a business that is built on margins that are not supportive of growth and sustainability. Then it puts you in a position where you start artificially enhancing the business because revenue looks good, and you want to continue blasting and increasing growth rate month on month on month on month without consideration of your costs. So foot to the floor, continue gassing the business, revenue goes up, feels fantastic, and you go and get some debt, or you go and take out a loan, or you go and use the Shopify capital, whatever that might be, but you do that thing because, well, we're growing quick. We need to enhance. We need to increase the speed. It's just what we need to do. It's a sale period. It's a campaign. Whatever the reason, the justification, the rationale behind it is, it happens and it takes place. And when it takes place once, then what it does is the founder goes, well, this seems to work and I can grow faster. And maybe this is just how my business is going to eventually take care of itself. This is why the US Treasury and the US economy is right now in a situation where they have hundreds of trillions of dollars of debt, because it's the idea of let's just kick the can down the road. Hopefully it takes care of itself. Eventually, sometime in the future, somebody else is going to step in and they're going to fix the whole mess. And so from every business and every founder and every story and every individual that I've ever worked with across this entire situation, the businesses that win, and win categorically, meaning they win and they run rings around other people, and they also gouge out significant cash, not profit, from their business and pay themselves so they can actually enjoy their lifestyle, they are the ones that understand the rules of economics in relation to their business, and they actually understand the differences between profit, cash, gross margin, and break-even ROAS. And they measure things continuously, unscrupulously, like they are just insanely diligent with the fact of being like, I must get this margin from 30% down to 20%. I need to get my gross margin above 75%, above 80%. And they spend the time here before they scale aggressively, because here's what's true. And this is absolutely true. As you grow your business, the business will continue to get more complex. There is no rule, there is no law of physics that this cannot happen, because as you are starting, you sell one thing to one person on one platform. I hope you don't try and sell a whole bunch of stuff to a whole bunch of people all at once and you're just like, let's go and do that. No, you sell one thing to one person, you're doing it on one platform. You generally are the solo founding operator. You do all the stuff, you do all the things, you're running every single element of the whole business. Now, what happens is you start introducing new products, and then you go, okay, cool. Well, geez, I need some help, because now I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff and my business is doing, I don't know, $50,000, $60,000 a month, $100,000 a month. Then you go, I need some people to help me do this stuff. And then you bring the people in, maybe, unless you're fully trained on all the AI stuff, which probably is a good idea. Then just do the AI agents and void the people. That might be cool as well. However, you bring some people in or you bring some agents in, it doesn't matter. Complexity is going to increase and is going to start eating away at your margins. This is a concept in the book, The Hard Thing, The Hard Things. Benjamin Horowitz, he calls it giving up ground begrudgingly, right? There's linebackers, and they are these individuals on the football teams in America. Their sole job in the game of football is to hold back the offensive line from taking ground quick. It's not like they're trying to prevent them and like, stop, you're not going to take any ground. No, you can't come across here. You must stop here. It's like they know they're going to get through. They know they're going to push them back down the field, but they're trying to make it happen slowly as opposed to, all right, welcome in. You might as well just walk in right now. And too many founders, they do the welcome in strategy, meaning they don't spend enough time scrutinizing and absolutely relentlessly ripping through margins. And then when things get complex, they ignore the margins and they start to add and add and add. They get debt, they get people, they get systems, they go international, they add product lines, and they do all of these things in their businesses. And very quickly, what was once initially a simple problem that was made up of margins that weren't obsessed on at the start turns into this huge mess that involves multiple products and multiple people across multiple locations. A founder that can't sleep at night because he or she is absolutely just smashed with problems, situations, and then a mountain of debt with no clear pathway that could ever be repaid. And so if you want help with something like this, in terms of fixing this kind of problem, these are the types of problems that I help clients with in Ecom Capital. Real problems that are tough to deal with, problems that keep people up at night. And I'll give you some detail here around how you can actually solve this thing. So first things first, gross margin, obsess on that thing, get it right, go absolutely ham on it. What we're finding right now in terms of the data is that consumer spending is forcing average order values down. Impulse spending is going up, but people are becoming more and more hesitant to buy bigger products. So the basket size is getting smaller, which means that focus on your average order value, right? Obsess on your product display page, sequences, go through some of the offer training details on this page here. I go into full detail in terms of how I create offers, the details of offers, how to actually infuse them into an e-commerce product brand in a way that is authentic, genuine, not misleading, but it also creates scarcity, urgency, and it has people want to purchase now versus waiting 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and then going and buying from somebody else that has a better price point. You do not want to fall victim to that. Then personalize the heck out of your post-purchase experience. This is one of the most overlooked and also one of the most important things that you should do, especially with AI at the moment. It is very easy for you to do. Map the journey end to end. Look at all the touch points. Look at every single thing that individual does, where they go to, how they interact with their friends, where do they take the product, how much do they use the product, what happens when it goes right, wrong, when does it start to wear out, what happens when it starts to run out in the bottle. All those things need to have touch points and communication along that journey so that when the individual reaches a certain moment, they go, it's like they're in my mind, and they come back and purchase again. If you do these things and obsess on these things in the right order, it'll put you in a position where your business is built on much more solid foundations, and then the scaling that you do after you've done these things comes from a more strong position where you don't feel like at any day now, this is all going to fall apart, and tomorrow might be the day that my business shuts down. I've heard that so many times, and you do not need to be the person that goes through that experience and has that kind of takeaway from growing a business. You're doing a fantastic thing. You're taking risks that most people would not take, but you need to do it right. Because just because you're in the game, just because you're on the field, it doesn't mean that you're winning, right? Being in the game and winning are two different things. And if you're in the game, why be in the game if you're not playing to win? I hope this video has been helpful, and I hope some of the things that I've shared with you during this video can be implemented into your e-commerce business. If you want to learn more and understand more about how we might be able to help you specifically implement these things, have my team implement these things with you and in your business, there's some links in the description below. You can find some of the details there, as well as head onto the channel and go through some of those offer training materials so you can implement them into your business and drive more growth through your average order value expansion and your conversion rate increase. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.